Hey everyone, Chandler Bolt here. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm super excited to get things kicked off in just a minute or two here. Joining me today, as you know, we've got your friend, Evan Pagan, and my friend too. So I'm excited to have him here. And he's going to kick us off in just a minute. But first, if you can do me a favor, type in the chat and let me know, A, that you can hear me, B, that you can see me. So you should see me wave my hands, should see Evan as well. And then also let me know where you're tuning in from. So we'll do a little bit of a roll call here, and then we'll get things kicked off. Oh, awesome. Looks like we just had a big old flood of people just join in. Cool. So we've got Jacinto, we've got Tammy from Washington, D.C., Robert from Aruba, Gassan from France. Awesome. Marion from the U.K., Trevor from the U.K. It's a little late. Your time. We got, yeah, you used to live there, so you know that, Evan. Let's see, Michelle, Bakersfield, California. So I'm in San Francisco. We've got Dionisio from Brazil, Sharon from Texas, Trinidad, Christine from South Carolina. Nice. That's where I'm from. You'll probably hear the accent throughout the presentation. All right, so we're going to kick it off in just 1 minute. We got a bunch more people filing in here. Thanks for joining us. I guess I'll pass it, Evan, I'll pass it your way, and then we'll kick things off.
Great. Everyone, I'm excited to introduce you to Chandler Bolt here. He's going to be teaching us about writing and launching a book. You're going to get a lot of information here. I want to recommend that you turn off anything that might distract you or interrupt you. So turn off the cell phone, text message, anything you've got in the background that's making noise, close the door. Just, take a breath, come into your body here, leave that day behind you, and just really come here to learn. You're going to get a lot of really valuable information. You're going to learn from someone who's doing it right now in the world. So just turn all that stuff off, the email, the social, the Twitter, the Skype, just shut all that stuff down. It'll be there when you get back. And also get something to take notes with. If you like to write things down, just get something to write with so that you're ready to go, because you're going to get a lot of valuable tips. You're going to want to write stuff down. If you're going to use your computer, get a file ready right now. Get it ready to take some notes as you go through. You don't want to be scrambling. As they say, the shortest pencil is better than the longest memory. So be ready to take some notes. And wow, it looks like we have a lot of people here. This is awesome. So Chandler, I met you a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Francisco. My partner James, who's a good friend of yours, introduced us, and we had dinner. And James just said to me, "This guy's a rock star. Like, you need to meet this guy." And we sat down and we had dinner, and he really is. Chandler's somebody that, he's impressive in what he's done. He's published 6 books now. He's done $6 million in sales. He runs self-publishing school. He's just really, you're going to see that he's got a lot to offer here. And what he's going to do tonight is he's going to teach you about how to identify your idea for a book. And then he's going to teach you how to write the book, how to create the book, and some shortcuts to get it done fast. And then he's also going to show you how to launch your book. And he's going to show you some really cool stuff about building a team to launch your book and getting it done. He's going to show you how he's done it. So Chandler, I'm going to hand it off to you. Teach these folks something awesome. Everyone, I'm going to be back at the end. There's going to be some question and answer with Chandler. I've also got some surprise bonuses for you and things, so stay on until the end. I'll be back in probably about an hour.
Cool. Thank you, Evan. Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen here. If you can double confirm and let me know that you can still hear me, and now you should see my screen. You should be seeing the title slide. We're going to get things kicked off. So just let me know in the chat that you can still hear me and that you can see my screen. And let's do this thing. Awesome. Perfect. So thanks for that awesome intro, Evan. I'm super excited. As he said, I'm going to be talking with you today about how to write and launch a book in 90 days. And so really it's the busy person's guide to getting your book done in 30 minutes a day. Now, Evan touched on this, so I'll keep it brief. But this is just a couple things, like an intro if we haven't been able to meet before. So my name's Chandler Bolt. I'm originally from Walhalla, South Carolina. It's a small town in the middle of nowhere that you've probably never heard of. I live in San Francisco now. I'm the author of 6 books, and I've taught over 3,500 people to write and publish their first book through my program, Self-Publishing School. And I've been able to do all this despite being a C- English student. So I like to say that if I can do it, then you definitely can too. Now, a fun fact that not many people know about me is that my brother plays in the rock and roll band Need to Breathe. So, excuse me, Grammy nominated band, tons of awesome music, and I'd be a bad brother if I didn't mention that. So just want to give a shout out there. And then also, here's just a quick picture of my family. So my mom and my dad, they met at a factory in South Carolina. They were working night shift, obviously had me and my brother, and this is all of us here at Red Rocks in Colorado. So my brother's band plays there every year. And so this is all of us there. So let's dive in. So how many of you, and I'd love some participation, and this is going to be a 2-way conversation throughout this webinar. So be sure to stay active in the chat. That comes directly to me. So let me ask you a question. How many of you have heard of Robert Kiyosaki or read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? If you have, type yes in the chat box. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Looks like a bunch of people have. So I read this book when I was in high school, and it changed my life forever. So my dad was in business. He runs a construction company. And so he recommended that I read this book. I read it, and it literally changed my life. And I had 2 very distinct epiphanies while reading this book. Number 1 is that I wanted to start my own business one day. And number 2, that I wanted this thing called passive income, right? Robert Kiyosaki lays out the formula for making passive income. And he talks about how, you should make your money work for you, not the other way around. So put your money to work. Now, the formula that he lays out is passive income equals real estate. Now, that was exciting, but also a little bit discouraging because at the time I was 17 years old and I didn't have $40,000 to plop down on a house or to invest in real estate. So I gave up on passive income and said, hey, I put it on the maybe someday list and maybe I'll get that one day, but I still want to run my own business. So I did the best thing I knew, which was to go off to college. And then I went to college at Charleston, in Charleston, South Carolina. And I went to learn how to run a business, learn how to start a business. Now, I quickly realized here that I was learning how to run a business from professors that had never ran a business. And that really didn't make too much sense to me. So I dropped out. Now, right before I dropped out of school, I decided to study abroad. And during this time, I wrote and published my very first book called The Productive Person. It was kind of on a whim. And originally, I just planned for it to be a 20-page PDF and I'd give it to friends. But I decided ultimately to publish it on Amazon. Now, little did I know that that decision would change my life forever. So I remember being on this chairlift, and it was a couple days after I had written and published my book. And I was talking to a friend, and he said, Chandler, I heard you launched this book. I heard it's going well. Like, that's awesome. Is the book actually making any money? Like, I heard books don't make any money. And I thought for a second, and I said, well, you know what? Actually, yes. Like, while we were on this, while we were snowboarding all day yesterday, the book made over $400. And it was as if, as I said that, as those words came out of my mouth, that I realized what had happened. This was passive income, right? This was that mystical thing that I read about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad that I thought would never happen. And it just happened. People were literally buying my book all around the world and while I was snowboarding. Now, to answer the question, did it make any money? Well, in month 1, it made over $6,600. Month 2, it made $4,400. Month 3, $3,100. Month 4, $2,500. Month 5, $3,400. And it kept bringing in passive income month after month after month. Now, I like to say that the book is the key that opens the door to Narnia. So who's seen Chronicles of Narnia, or maybe you've read the book? Let me know in the chat. So if you have, you know that they find this key that opens the door to this cupboard in this magical land of Narnia. Now, I've seen this happen for me when I published my book, and for so many of my students who have published their book, is when you become a published author, this whole world opens up that you didn't know existed before. And it's all kinds of opportunities that come your way just because you're a published author. Now, let me show you an example of what I mean by that. So because of my first book, I started getting interviewed for top podcasts. I was featured on the Huffington Post. I got offered a 6 to 7 figure digital publishing deal. I built a 4,000 person email list, started a business on the back end, and the book finally gave me confidence to take on bigger and better projects. Now, what I discovered in all this is that, in my opinion, a book is the best passive income source. So it's the best way to get income coming in the door for you and for your business. Now, why a book? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, there's very low startup costs. So unlike real estate or unlike most businesses, you don't have to invest a lot of money up front to get started. Number two, high margin. So especially for audiobooks and ebooks, you keep like 70% of the sales as profit. You're also, number three, able to tap into an existing ecosystem of hundreds of millions of buyers on Amazon. And not many people know this, but over 70% of all books sold are sold on Amazon. And then lastly, because of some recent changes in the publishing industry, it's easier than ever to publish a book, and it's easier than ever to purchase a book. So we have people who are purchasing books like never before, more books than ever before. And at the same time, it's easier than ever to reach those people. Now, there's been a massive shift in the publishing industry as a whole in the last few years. And this is really great news for people who are writing their own book, and especially for people who are self-publishing it. So let me throw some stats at you. So number one, the big 5 publishers account for only 16% of best-selling ebooks. It's crazy. Now, on the flip side, less than 45% of author earnings go to traditionally published authors. So what does this mean? It means that you no longer need to publish through a big time publisher. And in fact, if you do, you're less likely to make great money as an author. Now, check out the other side of this stat. Independent authors are earning 70% of the profit from books as a whole. So what this means is self-published authors are making more money than ever before because you got more books being sold. It's easier to go directly to the consumer, and independent authors are earning all of the profit. So you've got people buying books on their Kindle, and they're buying them in their bedroom. They're buying them on the toilet. They're buying them while they're waiting at the doctor's office, while they're at work, everywhere. People are buying things on Amazon. Now, I don't want to tell you it's all sunshine and roses because it's not. The average author sells less than 100 copies of their book. Now, on the flip side, there's this subgroup of people that I call the thriving 1% who are making all the money. So it's kind of like they're doing really well. They're getting that 70% of the profits, and the average author is selling less than 100 copies of their book. Now, I'm going to talk about that thriving 1% in just a second, but I do first want to show you this. And this is crazy. This just goes to show you how far the publishers have fallen. So I got this comment on one of my videos the other day, and it's a gal. She said, "Thank you so much for your videos. I've signed with a major publisher, and they directed me to your videos for some incredibly helpful tips while I'm in the process of writing my book. Really appreciate this." So this is awesome on one hand. And on the other hand, it's kind of embarrassing because there's literally no reason to go with a big publisher. You're going to give away all of your royalties. And even still, they're sending people to us to get help with their book. Now, let's talk about this thriving 1% for a second. I want to give you some examples here of what this looks like. So this is my friend Hal Elrod. He wrote a book called The Miracle Morning. It's one of my favorite books of all time. This book totally changed my life. And this book makes over $25,000 a month, and it's self-published. Here's another example. This is Otakara Kletke. She's one of our students in self-publishing school. So she said, I was working 2 jobs to make ends meet. My entire income had to be earned actively. I published my book, double my income, all passive income from my books, quit both of my jobs, and now I'm able to come back home and homeschool my daughter. So pretty awesome. Here's another example, fiction example. Steve Windsor wrote and published his book, started making a few $1,000s in passive income every single month. So my question here is, what do the thriving 1% know that everyone else doesn't? Well, a couple things. Number one, they have what I call the successful author's mindset. They also have a clear book idea and a clear target audience. We're going to be talking about this later. And then most importantly, they know how to market their book successfully. And so that's what I'm going to be diving into in this presentation, is some three secrets, 3 topics, and really how you can become a part of that thriving 1%. So number one, we're going to talk about how to successfully launch your book and how to earn $10,000 or more from every book that you write. Okay, so what does that look like to have that successful of a book launch? Number two, we're going to talk about how to find a book idea. So once we begin with the end in mind and say, how are you going to market this? We're going to go back to the beginning, say, how do you find a book idea if you don't have one, or how do you narrow down on your best book idea? And then lastly, and this is my favorite, and I think you're going to love this, so definitely stick around for this. I'm going to walk you through my 3-step process for writing your book in a weekend without writing a single word if you don't want to. And then at the end, I'll share some info on how you can personally work with me to become a part of the thriving 1% with your book by working with us in Self-Publishing School. So let's dive into lesson number 1. You guys excited? You guys learning something so far? Gabrielle says, Eben always gets my total attention. Huss says, I'm currently writing a book. Love it. That's awesome. Perfect. So let's dive into lesson number 1. So this is about book marketing. Now, I want to zoom back into that story I was telling you a second ago. So I wrote this book. It was bringing in this passive income, paying the bills when I dropped out of school. But then a few months later, I found myself out in this position. I woke up and checked my bank accounts, and all of them were negative, which is not good if you don't know. And now at this point, I had also borrowed $15,000 from friends and family to try and make my business work. I was trying to get my business off the ground. Now, that same day, I went in the cupboard to grab some lunch, and I was trying to make a sandwich, and all I had were these double end pieces of the loaf of bread and some peanut butter. So I made myself a double end piece peanut butter sandwich, which was like the driest sandwich that I've ever had. Someone the other day, I said, is that a frowny face on that sandwich? And I said, I never saw that. I think it actually is. So I took a picture because it was so ridiculous. Like, this was kind of my rock bottom, where I dropped out of school. I took this big gamble to start my business, and it was completely failing. Like, I was about a month away from having to move back in with my parents, and I was just going to fail at dropping out, which in my opinion was like the biggest failure that I could think of, was failing at dropping out. So this was a wake up call, and I did some serious self-reflection, talked to some mentors. I said, what am I missing here? And from their feedback and from my reflection, I realized it was one thing, and that was to learn marketing and sales. Because I realized that if I learned how to market something, I learned how to get leads and get customers, that I'd never be broke, I'd never be out of a job, and I could write my own paycheck. So I then went on a tear, investing money, time, and energy as much as I could into learning marketing. And I took what I learned and I decided to launch another book. It worked for me in the past, so why not do it again? So I launched my book launch. Now, in the first 55 days, this book brought in 3,334 leads for my business, and it brought in $92,228 for my business. This is in addition to the thousands of dollars in book royalties from the book. This was crazy. Now, not only this, but it helped me land on the homepage of the Your Money section of Business Insider. So you can see that article here, and this article went viral. Now, out of all this, yes, it kickstarted my business, got me out of debt. It also helped me hit $1.32 million in business in the first 11 months. And this book still brings in leads, still brings in business every single month. This is what I'm talking about when I say creating an asset that generates leads and generates business, and that works for you and continues to bring in income for a long time. So what I want to break down in this section is 3 steps to a successful book launch. So I'm going to break down the 3 steps that I followed in the launch of that book and the steps that you can follow to successfully launch your book. Okay, so step number one, get a good cover that grabs attention. I'm amazed at how many people will spend years writing a book and then they'll spend 5 minutes and $5 on a crappy cover. You need to get a good cover. Okay, so your book cover needs to grab attention. The title needs to be easy to read, and people need to instantly understand what the book's about. There's a big difference between a good selling cover and a good looking cover. Many designers will give you a good looking cover that's not a good selling cover. And I'll tell you the difference. So let me give you some examples. Here's an example of one of my books, Book Launch. And you can see the cover's orange. So immediately it grabs attention. The title is big and the title is clear. You also instantly understand what the book's about. Like, what do you think this book's about? It's about how to launch a book, right? So you instantly understand that. And then lastly, and perhaps most importantly, the book title is in the upper third. So it's in the upper third of the cover. Now, why is that important? Well, because people, they travel, we have our natural eye path movement, which is we start at the top left and then we go down and right. This is just scientific. So we go down and right. So I want them to be caught by the title and then go down and right and then read more about the book. But if I have an image up here, if my title's at the bottom, then that cover's not going to grab attention. It's not going to sell well because people will be confused. Subconsciously, they'll be confused. Here's another example. There's another one of my books published. So you can see the title is very easy to read. The subtitle, also easy to read. This stands out. There's a blue and red, which kind of stands out, and you instantly know what the book's about. Okay, so get a good cover that grabs attention. That's step number one. Step number two is build a launch team. I'm going to walk you through this in just 1 second. And then step number three is get reviews. So not only should you get as many reviews as possible when you launch, but get ongoing reviews to keep the Amazon algorithm happy. Okay. So let me walk you through one of the fundamental principles of marketing. And that's social proof. Now, social proof says that we make decisions based on the actions of others, based on other people doing it. So let me give you an example here. So imagine for a second that you came to visit me in San Francisco, and you have no idea, any of the restaurants or anything in the city, but you want to go out for a bite to eat. And you're walking down the street, you're trying to pick a restaurant, and on the right-hand side of the street, there's this restaurant, and it is packed, right? It is packed. There's a 25-minute wait. And on the left-hand side of the street, there's another restaurant that's completely empty. Which restaurant are you going to go to? You're going to go to the one that's packed, right? Well, logically, we can look at it and say, well, that's crazy, right? Why would you do that? Well, you're going to have to wait 25 minutes. You could go across the street and get your food instantly. Well, it's social proof at work. You're thinking to yourself, you're looking at that restaurant with no one in it, and you're saying, this is very suspicious. Other people must know something that I don't, and that's why they're not there. And at the same token, they must know that restaurant is awesome. That's why there's a wait. I'm willing to wait. Now, imagine this same concept works for your book. Imagine one book with 0 reviews, another book with 25 reviews or 50 reviews or whatever that is. You're going to be more likely to buy it. So not only is your launch going to be more successful, but also if you get ongoing reviews, Amazon is going to promote your book and put it in front of more people, which helps feed into the ecosystem and helps keep you making sales and making money for months and years to come. So how do you get reviews? Well, I'm going to go 2 birds, 1 stone here in the form of a launch team. Now, let me break down the launch team. So a launch team is simply a small group of people who support your book. Now, this could be 5 to 50 people. It could be friends, family, colleagues, coworkers, the mom at your son's t-ball practice. This could be anyone, right? Anyone that supports you or the cause of your book, the message behind your book. Now, there's 2 sides of the coin. There's what they agree to do and then what they get in return. So what they agree to do is read your book ahead of time and leave a review when it launches on day 1. Now that's the review piece. That's how you get a lot of reviews out of the gate. I mean, imagine you have 25 people on your launch team. there you have it. You got a lot of reviews from day one. And then also they agree to share the book with friends and support the launch. Now, on the flip side, what they get in return is they get a free digital copy of the book. I like to do the second thing, which is I put their name in the digital copy of the book. People love that. And then lastly, they get to be a part of something inspiring. So, there's a New York Times study that says that 81% of people want to write a book. We know that less than 1% of people actually do. So there's a good chance that they're in that 81% and they're interested in writing a book, but they don't have the guts to do it. And so they can live vicariously through you. And they can work, they can kind of feel good about helping you with your book, and it feels like it's their book that's being launched. Now, here's how I run the launch team. I do this in a Facebook group. If you don't like Facebook, you don't have to use Facebook. But I like to do a Facebook group. You can also do email. I do a little bit of both. And then I'll basically have a handful of assignments for the 4 to 6 weeks leading up to the book launch. So I'll have them get me PR. So they'll get, they probably know someone who's in the news. So they'll get me on TV or in the newspaper or on podcasts. I'll have them read the book ahead of time, leave a review when it launches. I will have them, share the book, that sort of thing. And so it really just helps have like this army behind your book so that when your book launches, you've got a lot of momentum with it. Now, what happens when you follow these steps? Here's some examples of when you follow these 3 steps and market your book successfully. So number 1, this is David McKay. He's a past student at Self-Publishing School. He has a photography business. So if you're looking at using a book to grow your business, this could be a really great example for you. So he emailed me the other day. He said, it's been 1 year since I enrolled in the program. I've brought in $10,000 in book royalties and $45,655 in business directly from my book. And at the same time, my book is bringing in 30 to 40 leads per week. So a lead is basically, name and email, right? So of people who are interested in potentially doing business with him. So while most people are paying to get leads, he's getting paid to get leads. Here's another example. Lise Cartwright, freelancer. I don't know if we have any freelancers in the house, but this is a great example. She's actually now a coach with us at Self-Publishing School. She wrote and published her book, started making a few $1,000s a month in passive income. Here's an example, Dave Rogenmoser. So he wrote and published his book, Beyond the Grind, brought in $3,864 in royalties in the first 60 days, used his book to build an email list, use that email list to launch a course. That course brought in $1 million within the first 18 months. So again, think back to that key that opens the door to Narnia, right? Like this whole world that he didn't know existed. He just wanted to publish a book. And then all this opportunity opened up on the back end. Here's another example. This is Emily Rose. She wrote and published a book called Break Your Bad Love Habits. Now, she texted me the other day, said, hey, I'm making $10,000 a month from my coaching business now, and I only have to spend 6 hours a week with my clients. Pretty awesome. One last example. This is Kathy Pieper. She went through the program, launched a romance novel. I had a $10,000 launch just off of book sales. So the truth here around book marketing is a couple of things. Number 1, you don't need to be tech savvy to launch a book. You don't need to spend a ton of money on marketing to have a successful launch. You definitely do not need a publisher. And then lastly, and this is probably the most important, is that you need to learn marketing from someone. Okay. You need to invest time, money, and energy to learn marketing, because this whole fallacy that if you build it, they will come. It's just not true. And marketing is the single greatest skill that you can learn to have success with your book, with your business, with whatever it may be. You have to learn marketing. I invested tens of thousands of dollars in learning marketing for myself. I've definitely passed my 10,000 hours in this. So I would advise that you do as well. And again, this doesn't have to be with me. This doesn't have to be with Self-Publishing School, but like make sure that you invest some time, some money and resources into learning the skill of marketing. So that's my 3 steps to launching your book. We're going to go into lesson number 2, which is how to find a book idea. Has this been helpful so far? You guys tracking with me, getting notes? Awesome. All right, we're moving and grooving. I love seeing these comments throw in the chat. So keep those coming. Victor says yes. Christine says, hey, yay. Anthony says yes. Making every single note. So far, so great. All good. Very helpful. Lesson number 1 was excellent. Thank you, Richard. Awesome. So let's move into lesson number 2. This is how to find a book idea in 5 minutes. Or if you have too many ideas, how to narrow down to your best book idea. So I want to do a quick poll here, and I want to hear from every single person here. So we got a couple hundred people here, so I want to hear from all of you. How many of you know what you're going to write about? So you have a book idea. If that's you, type yes. And then how many of you have no idea or what you're going to write about? If that's you, type no in the chat box. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks for your generosity. Awesome. Thank you, Babs. No, too many ideas. Yes, 5 books in the queue. No, no, no. Right now, yes, yes, yes. I have an outline and a draft. That's awesome. I have my idea and niche. Started writing. Oh, cool, Eva. You're going to love this. Well, especially the last lesson. You'll love that. Tammy, no idea. Help. Perfect. So it looks like we're split about 50-50. Great. Cool. So I'm going to have something for each, no matter which crowd you're in. So first things first, for the folks with no book idea, I'm going to walk you through what I call my idea finder. So this is 5 questions to help you find your book idea. So number 1, what are you most passionate about? Number 2, what's your favorite hobby? Number 3, what do you get paid for, or what's your expertise? Number 4, what are people coming to you for advice on? And then lastly, what's a topic that you know a lot about or you can't stop talking about? Okay. So maybe you've done a lot of research on this. Take a picture of this slide, or at a very minimum, make sure that you know, like Evan said, and I love that quote, the shortest pencil is better than the longest memory. That's great. I've never heard that, and I love that. So make sure you're getting this down and take some notes here. So I'm going to zoom in on number 3, because for most of you folks and folks who follow Eben, I know that there's a business lean, right? So either you have a business or you want to have a business. So I want to zoom in on number 3. So if you're a knowledge worker, meaning you get paid for what's in your head, which most of us on this webinar are probably knowledge workers. So whether you're a trade worker, a construction worker, you know, an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, a professor, a teacher, a salesperson, like whatever it is, and you get paid for your expertise, then that's the easiest book that you can write. Because here's the thing. So there's what I call the gap that exists between, if I were to go into your position today with no prior experience, there's going to be a gap between where I'm at on day 1 and where you're at right now. And that's a gap that comes from, you know, probably at least a year, if not years of experience on your part. And you've learned things the hard way that you could teach me. And that you could teach anyone who's in my position about what you do. So that is like the easiest and by far the best place to start is number 3 there. Now, let me give you some examples to kind of jog your memory, give you some ideas here. So here's an example of one of our students, Kat Wanders. She turned her love for yoga into a book. So, she turned this into a book and then into a business, Yoga for You. Okay. So she says, thanks to my successful launch, my business has boomed an extra $30,000 this month. I cannot thank you enough. I know I keep repeating this, but I'm still processing the whole thing. Here's another example, Undercover Amish. So this book is killing it. This is a fiction book. I would have never guessed that this book would be doing so well. It has over 200 reviews on Amazon and is selling like crazy. Here's another example. Wendy Vandepoel is a veterinarian. So she deals with a lot of pet loss grief. She wrote a whole series on this. And so my dog is dying. What do I do? And this book's doing great, both for her and income from the book and for her business. And that's the thing. I always say that learning how to ride a book is just like learning how to ride a bike. once you know how to do it, you'll never forget. Like you can do it again and again and again. And Wendy's a prime example of, she's written like, gosh, I think 7 books to the program already. It's pretty crazy. Here's an example of a Spanish cookbook. So you can write a cookbook, or you can write a book in English as a second language, or like in a different language than English. And then lastly, a memoir. So if you're thinking about writing a memoir, yes, you can do that too. So here's an example. Lisa Fleetwood, another one of our students, she wrote a pet traveling memoir. So all about traveling through the States through her dogs, with her dogs. So that's how you find an idea. Was that helpful? Hopefully you got some ideas. At least write that down. And I promise you, when you use that combined with the exercise that I'm about to teach you, it's going to help you like get going. Get an idea and get some words on the page. So here's for those other folks who said, hey, I've got like a bajillion ideas and I don't know where to start. So I'm going to walk you through 3 questions that you can ask yourself to pick a book idea. Because we only have 2 rules inside Self-Publishing School. Number 1 is that you can't write more than 1 book at a time. That is just a cardinal sin. Like, do not do that. You're setting yourself up for failure. And then number 2 is that you can't edit while you write. So what I want to walk you through here is how is how to pick your idea. So 3 questions. Number 1, which book could you finish the fastest? So maybe you have the most content or life experience on that topic. Question number 2, which one are you most likely to finish? So you're passionate about it and you'll take it to the finish line. And then question number 3, which one's going to make me happy? Again, take a picture of this slide or get these notes down. Which one can you finish the fastest? Which one are you most likely to finish? And then which one is going to make you happy? Okay, that's how you choose the book to write first, because we want to get you a win and get you to the finish line with your rough draft. Now, the truth here is that there's no such thing as a crazy idea. You've seen that. There are no new ideas. So some people say, hey, this book's already been written. Well, in my opinion, every book's already been written, but there's a unique story and unique experience that you have that no one else has. So you can say things in a way that might connect to someone where they wouldn't connect to anyone else, right? They might not connect to Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss, Eben Pagan, me. Like, they might not connect to us, but they would connect to you, and you can teach them that information. You need to get specific. There is no such thing as too specific. Some people will say, hey, is this like this niche is too small? And there's just no such thing as a niche that's too small. The more specific, the better. And then lastly, you don't need to be an expert in your topic. So I was in Boy Scouts growing up. I'm an Eagle Scout. And they always had a joke when we were going camping. They said, if you're going camping and you're out in the woods and you get chased by a bear, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than your friends, right? So you just have to be faster than your friend. Now, here's another example. This guy, he doesn't have to be faster than this elephant. He just has to be faster than his friend. Now, why am I talking about elephants and bears? Well, here's the thing. When you're writing a book, you don't have to be an expert. You just have to know a little bit more than the person that you're teaching. I'll repeat that. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to know a little bit more than the person that you're teaching. So remember that gap that I talked to you about. You have knowledge and experience that if someone were to come in fresh doing what you're doing, they would not have. So don't forget that. I know we all battle imposter syndrome, but I think remembering that will help kind of get over the hump to commit to an idea and then get it written using lesson number 3 here. Nancy says, LOL. Sweet. Lowell says, friggin' great point. Thank you, Lowell. All right, we're moving in the home stretch here. We've got about 20 minutes left, and then we're going to move into a Q&A. So I see some questions running in here, and I'm going to make sure that all of your questions are answered as soon as we get to the end. So we're in lesson number 3, how to write your book in a weekend without writing a single word if you don't want to. Now, I mentioned that I was a C-level English student and a college dropout, and English teachers hated me. And they would just give me bad grades. And I hated writing. So this is not a picture of me, but it might as well have been me every time I had to write a paper. Now, you can imagine when I decided to write a book, that was pretty intimidating. I was very intimidated, and I was like, how am I going to do this? I can barely write a 3-page paper, much less a book. So I went to a mentor and I got some advice from him. I said, Adam, you got to teach me how to do this. And he introduced me to the magic of mind mapping. Now you're looking at a mind map here. This is probably not a new concept. You've probably heard about this before, but there's a big difference between hearing it and using it, right? So this is a mind map. So it's a brain dump on everything that you can possibly think of on your book topic. Okay, so you're looking at you write your book idea in the center of the page and everything you can think of around that. And I'm going to walk you through this process, but this is the first of 3 steps in my writing process. And again, I forget the name of the person I was shouting out earlier, but you said they're just started writing. Like, you're going to love this. So here's how to create a mind map. So step number 1, you're going to write the book topic in the middle of the page. So preferably get out a blank sheet of print or paper. You can do this now if you have it handy, and write the book topic in the center of the page. Now, step number 2, you're going to write out everything that you know on that topic. So you're going to spend 15 to 45 minutes writing out everything that you can think of. So every story that you have, every example that you have, every lesson that you've learned, book that you've read, idea that you have, you name it. Step number 3, you're going to organize the common ideas on the page into groups or sections. So this is going to form about 4 to 7 sections for your book. Then you're going to organize those sections in the order that you'd like to cover them in the book. And you're going to drill down into each section and go 3 chapters per section. So now this gives you a chapter by chapter roadmap that's going to form your book outline. Now, once you do this, as you'll see in the next slide, writing the book is the easy part. Now, I want to zoom back for just 1 second and show how this works for fiction, because I know we probably have some people who would write fiction in the audience. So this same thing works for fiction. So you're going to do the same process, except you're going to list out what are the characters in your story? What's the scene and setting? What's the character development that happens? What are the major points of conflict? What's the story arc? What's your hero's journey? And what does that look like throughout the story? And you're going to start brainstorming that in your mind map. Okay. So you got your mind map. And like I said, then writing the book becomes the easy part. So, because what you're going to do is you're going to repeat this process chapter by chapter by chapter. Okay. So you're going to, step 1, you're going to mind map. So say we're going into chapter number 1, right? So we're going to spend 10 minutes mind mapping, 10 minutes outlining, and then 45 minutes to an hour and a half writing that chapter. So all in, we're 2 hours per chapter, and we're going to repeat this process chapter by chapter by chapter. Now, on the flip side, this is kind of like a choose your own adventure. So if you're a better speaker than you are a writer, then you're going to speak the book. You don't have to write it. Remember I said how to do it without writing a single word? Well, this is how. So you're going to spend 10 minutes mind mapping, 10 minutes outlining that chapter, and then 10 minutes speaking. So you get about a chapter done every single 30 minutes, which is pretty incredible. Now, this is relatively straightforward, but I'll walk you through this. This is how to speak your book in 3 steps. So step number 1, you'll speak the chapter. Step 2, you'll get it transcribed. And then step 3, you'll polish it off. So you can hire an editor to do this for you, or you can do it yourself. But either way, the big difference is instead of staring at that dreaded blank Word doc, you're going to have tons of words on the page, right? So you can mold that into a book versus having to start from scratch. Now, the question I get a lot of times is how fast can you have a rough draft? Well, the ideal length of a book is 40 to 75 Word doc pages. It's about 15,000 to 25,000 words. The average person speaks 150 words a minute. That means that you can easily speak your book in a few hours, right? Definitely in a weekend if you choose to. Now, I want to give you some examples here. This is Pat Flynn of the Smart Passive Income podcast. He learned this method from one of my students, and he used it to write his book. He says, I've been able to flow much better with my voice than I am with my keyboard. I have thousands of words that are coming out through each of these sessions through dictation. Another example from Ray Edwards. He says, I believe we're in an age where it's so easy to dictate and get that turned into type that I don't know why anyone would do it any other way. When I first heard about this method, I wrote 2 books in one weekend. So 2 books in one weekend, pretty incredible. One final example, this is for the skeptics of mind maps, which was definitely me back in the day. So this is from Hannah Latonic, one of our students. She said, originally I despised mind maps. I now love mind mapping. I can see my book come to life without writing a single word of it. I went from 0 to 13,000 words in 2 weeks just from mind mapping and outlining. Now, the truth here is that you do have time to write a book. Don't tell me you don't have time, because you do have time. It can be done as little as a weekend or by spending 30 minutes per day over the course of 90 days. And then lastly, you don't have to be a natural writer or the next Hemingway to write a great book. Use your strengths. If you speak better than you write, then speak the book. If you write better than you speak, then write the book. Okay? Now I want to do a recap of what we've covered thus far. So we talked about the 3 steps to successfully launching your book up front. And then we went into my idea finder. So how to find an idea if you don't have one, and then how to narrow down to your best idea if you have too many. And then number 3, we talked about how to write your book in a weekend. So my 3-step process to either writing or speaking your book. Now imagine this presentation's felt a little bit like this. So I kind of opened up the fire hose and taught you pretty much as possible in the span of the 46 minutes that we've spent time together. Now, obviously, I can't teach you everything there is to know about writing and publishing a book successfully in 46 minutes. Now, because of that, I've put together a special program to help you write and publish your book faster. It's really going to build on what I've taught you in this presentation. I'd love to ask for your permission to show that to you. So if you'll comment in the chat box and let me know, and if I have your permission, then I'll take just a couple minutes to walk through that with you, and then we'll dive into a Q&A. I've got something really special here that I think you'll like, and then I think Eben has something special for you as well. Yes, go for it, please. Okay, yes, yeah, of course. Please show it. Yes, please. Love it. Awesome. So I want to tell you about my program called Self-Publishing School. So you've heard me mention it, and you've seen some of our successful students throughout the course of this webinar. Self-Publishing School is the only proven 90-day online education program that guides you step by step from blank page to bestseller in 90 days or less. And it's going to help you leverage your book for more success, more income, and more freedom. We guide you through the entire process. So we've got an online membership portal. We've got video training, PDFs, outlines, templates, checklists, you name it. We're going to walk you step by step through the process. Now, here's a sneak peek inside the membership portal. We'll talk about positioning, how to write the book, how to get it edited, how to launch it successfully, how to publish it. So all the logistics around publishing, and then what to do once you've published. Now, I know this system gets results, quite frankly, because I've used it to write 6 books. I've used it to build a 7-figure business, and I've helped over 3,500 people with their books all in just a couple years. You don't have to take my word for it. Here's some examples from some of our students. So this is David McKay. He wrote 2 books in 89 days. Pretty incredible. He says, people ask me what I think of SPS all the time. The coaching and support is invaluable. You do have to do the work, and you have to apply yourself. If you do and you follow the guidelines, you will succeed. And he talked about how he's selling 7 to 10 copies of his book a day at $6. Pretty awesome. Here's a fiction example. Ashley Emma said, first royalty payment. I'm crying. I'm so happy. I just got paid by Amazon over double what I expected. Earlier today, my bank account was in the negative. No more peanut butter sandwiches, LOL. This is so worth it. I already got my ROI, my return on investment on this course, and then some. And then lastly, this is from Emily Rose. She said, out of all the substantial investments I made in online business trainings and courses, this was the only program that really took me from A to Z. So thank you for reviving my faith in online business programs. Now, who else does this work for? This works for fiction and nonfiction authors. This works for regular people just looking to add a source of passive income. This works for people who want to use a book to grow your business. A book is, in my opinion, the best thing that you can do to grow your authority and to grow your business. This works for people who want to share their life experience with others. And then lastly, this works for the person who wants to write a book off their bucket list in 2018. So if that's you, this can definitely help you. Now, in addition to Self-Publishing School, I'm also going to give you access to my bestseller book launch blueprint. This is a $997 value, and it's the exact day-by-day system you can use to launch your book. I'm also going to throw in the book finishing and book marketing checklist. This is kind of like a pilot's checklist to make sure that you don't miss anything when you're finishing your book and actually publishing it, and then when you're marketing it successfully. So to recap, what you're going to get: lifetime access to Self-Publishing School, the bestseller book launch blueprint, and the book finishing and book marketing checklist. The total value on all this is $4,491. Now, I also wanted to throw in 5 bonuses here to just make it a no-brainer if you join on this webinar. So number 1 is my top secret review sweeper. So I talked about earlier on this webinar how important it is to get ongoing reviews. Well, this is literally a system that I've created that you can copy and deploy for your book, and it's going to sweep in reviews day after day, month after month, year after year. You just sit back and watch the reviews come in and stay on top of the charts, okay? This is a $997 value. You can see this works. As my mom would say, the proof is in the pudding. This is an example of my book launch, 719 reviews. My book published, 423 reviews. They've got a ton of reviews because of that review sweeper. Now, bonus number 2, I'm going to throw in my audiobook and physical book training. So this is going to help you to diversify your book income streams, make more money monthly from your book, and it's going to save you time, money, and hassle in the process of getting your audiobook and your print book done. Now, here's an example. This is Otakar Kletke, one of our students. She said, 9 months bestseller, over 10,000 copies sold. Thank you, SPS. Now, I want to zoom in on this last part. When you publish a Kindle book, don't stop and make it all formats. I wouldn't be selling 1,000+ books a month if I didn't. If I can do it, despite English being my second language, so can you. Okay, so that's super important and will be really helpful for you. Bonus number 3, you're going to get 3 months of weekly Q&A calls with me. So this is really valuable. Personal coaching with me is $1,000 an hour, and I turn it away. I don't do it because, quite frankly, I love it. But I just can't do it because my business is growing really fast. And so it doesn't make sense. It's not the best use of my time. But for you guys who sign up on this webinar, I'm going to do 12+ Q&A calls. So one every single week, and it's going to be an hour. And you'll get every single question answered. So you can come on, ask any question that you have. Every question will be answered every week. And you'll be able to learn from other people's questions as well. Now, bonus number 4, you're going to get a 1-hour clarity call with an SPS coach. This is very, very important. So on this call, it's a 1-hour call. You're going to get clear on your book idea. You're going to get clear on your target market and how you can have a $10,000 launch. So like, what's that going to take and what do you need to do? And then lastly, this is going to save you like 40 hours on your book at a minimum. Because clarity up front on your book idea, what you're writing about, who you're writing it to, like that's literally the difference between wasting a ton of time and shortcutting the process to get your book finished. Now, bonus number 5, and this is the last bonus here, you're going to get access to our A-Team outsourcers. So this is the exact people that we use for our books. So we're talking cover designers, editors, formatters, you name it. These are people who will do the work for you and save you tons of time and tons of money. This instantly saved one of our students here recently $1,000 just like that, just on editing. So to recap what you're going to get lifetime access to Self-Publishing School, the bestseller book launch blueprint, the book marketing and book finishing checklists, the review sweeper, audiobook and physical book training, 3 months of weekly Q&A calls, a 1-hour clarity call with an SPS coach, and then our A-Team outsourcers Rolodex. Now, the total value on all this is $2,361, and I'm not going to charge you that. But if I did, I feel like it'd be worth every penny. In fact, I talked with someone this weekend. I was speaking at an event. He said, I paid $14,000 to work with one of my competitors, and it's for exactly what you're looking at here. So pretty crazy, and it would be worth it at that price point. Now, this sells on our site, and you can go there now for $3,997. But because you're on this webinar, I wanted to do something special and do something special for Eben's folks. So you can get started today on this webinar for just $19.97. So all you need to do right now is head on over to self-publishingschool.com/special, or you can click the orange Learn More button. Click over there, and what you're going to see is that we have 3 options of Self-Publishing School. So there's a cheaper version that's cheaper than this, and we also have payment plans, and it excludes the 5 bonuses that I just mentioned. There's also a level up if you'd like more coaching that has 6 more calls with an SPS coach, as well as unlimited email consulting with my team for 1 year. And that's the next step up. That's the VIP level. And then there's the master level, which is what you just saw here. So what you need to do is head on over to that self-publishingschool.com/special. And then, you can click the orange Learn More button and then pick the version of the program that's right for you. Click that, fill out your details, press the submit button, and that'll process your order. We'll send you your login, and then you're going to come right back here into the webinar, comment in the chat, and let me and Eben know that you joined. We'll make sure that you get all these bonuses, you get the special pricing, and all that good stuff. Now, I do want to take a second to put price into perspective. Some people say, they're like, Chandler, this is an expensive investment, and I totally agree. It is an investment, right? Now, the normal price on the site is $3,997. It's half off that. If you were to go get a writing degree, that'd cost you about $20,000 a year. So your 4-year degree costs $80,000. You still wouldn't have a book done. If you were to go with a publishing company, you're going to pay $5,000 to $15,000 on the low end. So obviously this is a way better value than that. Now, I also want to touch on how SPS pays for itself, because you're probably thinking like, hey, how am I going to get my money back on this? How can I make sure this is a worthwhile investment? Well, there's three ways. Number one is in time saved. Without SPS, most people take 1.5 to 5 years to get their book done. So I can guarantee you that you're going to save a minimum of 100 hours in the process. Like, that is easy for me to guarantee, because I know that, we'll get your book done in 90 days. And let's say it even takes 6 months, 9 months. Like, worst case scenario, you're still at a minimum a half a year ahead of everyone else, and most likely years ahead. So if you value your time at $20 an hour, 100 hours, that's $2,000 right there. That's the cost of the program. Secondly, money saved. So without SPS, most people, like I mentioned, pay $5,000 to $15,000 to produce their book. With SPS, we're going to show you how to do it for a few $100, the actual production of the book, and save you tons of money in that process. And then lastly, money made. So you're going to sell copies of your book, sell more copies of your book than if you would if you did it on your own. And then you're going to collect that mailbox money for years. So I mentioned at the top of this webinar, the average author sells less than 100 copies. We're going to make sure that you sell more than that. Okay. Now, we do have 2 guarantees to protect your purchase. Number one is our 30-day honest try money back guarantee. So that means if you sign up today on this webinar and you give the program an honest try and you don't get results, ask for your money back and you'll get it. We also have a bestseller guarantee. And that's if you follow the steps laid out in this program and you don't hit number 1 in at least one category on Amazon, we'll give you a full and complete refund. Okay. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is here. Now, we also have a student for student promise. So this means that when you enroll in Self-Publishing School today on this webinar, you provide education for a child in need. So we partner with Pencils of Promise. We have a student for student match. Every student that joins Self-Publishing School, we fund the education of a child in a third world country. So we're building our first school this year, which I'm super excited about and can't wait to do that. So a couple final things before we move to the Q&A. I put this in here as kind of a joke, but also just to bring the point home. And that's if you follow this process, it's so easy an 8-year-old can do it. So this is 8-year-old Emma Sumner. She wrote and published her book, The Fairies of Waterfall Island. I'm pretty sure she's our youngest alumni in Self-Publishing School. She brought in $4,000 in book sales in the first 3 months and donated all that money to raise money for autism awareness. She was on all kinds of TV shows and stuff. She did a book signing with 10,000 people there. And now her book is being read at her school, and she's reading at a sixth grade reading level. So pretty crazy. And this is a picture of us on Good Morning Sacramento a few weeks back. So that was a fun interview. So you're on the webinar today. You have two choices. The first option is you can try to do this on your own and not invest in SPS, which is 100% risk free. Or the second option is you can try this out and have my team help you finish your book. And if the program doesn't get results for you, just ask for your money back and you'll get it. So sadly, oftentimes when people choose option number one, I never hear from them again and they don't get their book done. And that's because they don't have the accountability, the coaching, and the system to follow. And those are all three things that we provide inside Self-Publishing School. And most importantly, it's like, we're going to hold you accountable to get this thing done, right? To get it done and to get it to the finish line. Now, one last thing, and then we'll move over to a Q&A, we have a fast action bonus. So if you enroll in SPS in the next few minutes on this webinar, I will personally promote your book to my community and on our Facebook page, which is about 84,000 people when it launches. Okay. So that's just for people who sign up during the webinar today. So all you have to do if you'd like to get that bonus and all that good stuff is head on over to self-publishingschool.com/special, or you can click the orange Learn More button and then go over there, pick which version of the program is right for you. And then we'll come back here in the chat box and let us know that you joined. We'd love to welcome you into the program. Make sure you get these bonuses. So, Eben, if you're with us, if you'd like to turn your video and your audio back on, I think you mentioned something about some bonuses, and you can kind of chime in with that, and then I'll take it away with the Q&A.
Great. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Everyone, I've got a couple of bonuses here that I'm going to add to this stack because I want to give you the best training that I can to help you in publishing your book and launching it and getting it out there. So what I've done is I've got a package of 3 bonus programs here that go along really nicely with what Chandler is doing. And I chose these specifically because I think that if you use these tools along with his tools, you'll get the best of what he has, and you'll also get the best of what I've got for you. So there are really 3 things that we're talking about here, right? Identifying your big idea for your book. And then the second thing is actually creating the book. And then the third thing is launching and marketing your book. So I don't usually offer this course as a bonus, but I decided to throw this one in here into the mix because I think that this could really add something. I've got a course called How to Be Creative and Innovative. And this is an audio course that I created because I do a lot of creativity exercises in my brain, and I've been collecting them over the years, and they really help me to create winning ideas. You know, you've probably seen my videos on how to find your big idea and how to turn your big idea into a digital product. This course is, this is the one I give you 11 of my different creativity boosting exercises, my very favorite exercises. And I show you how to do them a few minutes a day. And you'll find that you can actually train your brain to be more creative. And this is a powerful course. This will really teach you how to do something that most people do not know how to do, which is how to be more creative on demand. And what's interesting about this is once you teach yourself how to be more creative, once you teach your brain how to generate more high quality and high value ideas, you'll notice that you produce more of them. And the more of them you produce, the faster you can get to that big idea, that winning idea. A lot of research is showing now that you need to just produce more ideas in order to find the winning idea. And you might not believe this, but sometimes I'll take 6 or 12 months thinking about what to call something, or just thinking about a new product that I'm going to create, or coming up with a book title or something like this. This course will teach you my favorite tools for doing that, and it'll teach you how to create really high quality ideas that are valuable. The next thing that I'm going to give you here is my product plan. And this is the best course that I know of on how to identify the knowledge that you have in your head that's the highest value knowledge right? So we're learning here that some knowledge is worth more than other knowledge. And in my years of doing direct response marketing and teaching a lot of people all around the world how to create and sell books and digital products and courses and membership programs and coaching and high-end masterminds and all of these things. And I've had many of the top marketers in the world come through my courses. One of the things that I've noticed, one of the common denominators of the winners, is that they find the knowledge that's the most valuable. And what we don't often realize is that some of the knowledge that we have is a lot more valuable to other people, and people will be willing to pay a lot more for that knowledge. And as you go through this course, again, it's called the product plan, you go through a series of exercises to get inside the mind of your prospect and to figure out just what it is that's motivating them, what is getting them excited about finding a solution to their problem or getting the result that they want in their life in whatever domain it is that you're working with them on. And when you go through these exercises, what you do is you eventually identify those things that are really valuable, that people would pay the most money for. One of the things that's fascinating about creating a book or a digital product is, we just write down a list of all the things that we know, and maybe we make an outline, and then we start teaching our material. We don't consciously look at that and say, this thing is going to be worth just a little bit to some people, but this thing is going to be worth a lot. And this thing is something that people would pay a lot of money to learn. But when you go through this series of exercises, you will identify the knowledge you have. Again, very importantly, that people are searching for and that they'll pay the most money for. And when you build your outline around that information, it makes it a lot easier to create powerful marketing and a lot easier to create products that people buy and pay premium prices for. You can see Chandler here. He's got this course, and he normally sells this for about $4,000. That's amazing to be able to create a program and then to offer it to people at this level. I've had when I first started, I actually published a book online. That's how I got started myself. I don't know if you know that, Chandler, but I wrote a book of dating advice and I put it online. That was my very first hit, and I sold that book for $39.95, right? So I sold my first book for $40, and it went on to become very, very successful. And it was because I identified valuable knowledge, I put it in there, and then I communicated that it was really valuable. So in the product plan, we're going to get inside the mind of your prospect. We're going to identify your best knowledge. And by the way, I shot this course. It was over a 2-day live program that was videotaped to make this course. And the people in the room were investing $12,000 to $24,000 to be there. And as many of the top people in our industry were right there. You'll see me working with a lot of them as we outline their books and their courses and their products. Okay, so this is the real deal. It's my best course. It's the best course I know of on creating a great product, whether it's a book or a digital product. The next bonus that I'm going to give you if you register today, and you have to use this link here that Chandler's given you so that we can track you, so that we can make sure and follow up. This is my best course on marketing, and it's called Marketing Step by Step. Once you identify your best idea, okay, once you use these creativity tools to find your most valuable idea, and then you outline your product by identifying the knowledge you have that's the most valuable, that people will pay you the most for, next you need to market that product or course that you've created. And Marketing Step by Step, this takes my whole career of learning marketing, of learning direct response marketing, of learning branding, of learning positioning, of learning how to write copy, of learning how to get referrals, of learning how to get affiliate partners, and it puts it all into this one course. It's the best that I've got for this. If you don't have marketing experience, you can literally start in this course in the beginning. It'll walk you through the mindset shifts that you need to understand. It'll teach you the distinctions and the language you need. And then it goes right into all the checklists and the blueprints. It'll give you my best copywriting checklists, my favorite headline writing formulas. It'll give you an example of how to write emails and follow-ups and social posts. It also goes all the way into doing product launches and getting affiliate partners. We've done very well in many businesses getting other people to be affiliate partners to sell our products for us. It's a huge pillar of my business. I'll teach you how to do that. I'll also teach you how to get referrals from your clients. This is a super in-depth course. If you were to buy these 3 bonuses from me individually, they'd be about $2,500 if you just went and bought them off my website. I'm going to give you all 3 of these bonuses, and they're going to give you my best stuff for getting your best idea together, for creating your outline for your book, for creating your book, and then for marketing it and launching it and getting paying customers. Okay, so that's about a $2,500 bonus. These are some of my best courses. They really are, and you get them as a bonus when you register today. So Chandler,
that's awesome.
That's what I got for everyone.
Love it, man. And thanks so much for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good deal. So that is awesome. So I'm going to dive into some questions here.
Great. I'm going to tune back out.
So, I mean, just thank you for doing that, Eben. And so if you haven't already, head on over to self-publishingschool.com/special, or click the orange Learn More button. Go ahead and pick the version of the program that's best for you. And not only will you get all the bonuses that I mentioned here, you get the fast action bonus as well. But then you're going to get those 3 bonuses that Eben mentioned. Which is pretty powerful, and another $2,500 in value. And I'm over here like, oh my gosh, I need access to this. I might buy my own program just to get that. Because I mean, that's just powerful stuff. I know that I've learned a ton from Eben over the years, and especially just the marketing piece alone. I talked to you earlier in the webinar about how important that piece is. So just that piece from one of the bonuses that he offered is really cool. So I'm gonna dive into some questions. Let's see. First one I'm seeing here, Matt. Hey, if I want to enroll but cannot start the program right away, but until April 1st, is there a problem if I buy it now but start later? Mainly, the question is about the calls. How do they work? Yeah, so you can totally start later. You're just gonna need to let us know once you register, Matt, and we can kind of put a grace period there that pushes your calls back a little bit. Awesome. Gabriella says, I'm in. Awesome. Looks like we have some other folks joining us. Cool. Christine, hey, Laura, does the course cover the Amazon free days, etc.? Yes. Yes, we do. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about that. That's part of a launch strategy. But yes, we cover that. Kay says, I'm in a horrible funk trying to motivate myself. My book is almost finished and can't see myself moving forward. Help. Yes, Kay. So we can definitely help you out and get you moving. So I would just definitely join us in the program. We're going to give you the accountability, the coaching, and the system to follow to make this book a reality. I know where you're at right now. Like it's the hump right before you get to the end. And, as they say, like, when life throws us obstacles, it's usually because it's like the best thing that we've ever seen is on the other side of that, and I found that to be the case, at least in my life. And so this is like, I haven't been through exactly this, which is right before you finish the book, you go through this phase where you think, oh my gosh, this book sucks. I suck. I don't even know why I wanted to write a book. And you start to question everything, and all these limiting beliefs come in, and the self-doubt. So we can definitely help you push through that, Kay, and get to the finish line with a book. So join us, and we'll definitely help you out. All right, let's see. Nancy, do you have a recommended mind map software that you like or recommend? I don't, Nancy, and here's why. So I think that mind map softwares, they actually inhibit mind mapping, right? There's no substitute, in my opinion, for a pen and paper or pencil and paper. Because when I've tried to use one of those, I spend so long trying to figure out the dang software that it's like my creativity is totally killed in the process. Or if I have like a burst of ideas, I can't get them onto the page fast enough. So I actually don't recommend using a mind map software, at least for the first iteration of your mind map, because it's just so much easier and, quite frankly, low tech to get your book ideas out on the page without it. Okay, let's see. Tammy, is there a way to do a search on whether or not my book idea is something people are searching for? 100%. We actually walk you through this in the first module of the course, and how you can just slightly pivot it one way or the other to sell more books. So pivot it to something that is more valuable for people. So we'll walk you through that definitely. Christine, what happens after the 90 days? Is there a mastermind group? Thanks again. Yeah. So, for at the master level, which is what you're seeing here, you get the 3 months of weekly calls and the 3 months of, 3 months of the mastermind community. And then after that, it's $47 a month. You can cancel or you can stay for as long as you'd like. That helps us really we provide a lot of exclusive content there, expert hangouts, as well as we have like staff that supports and runs that. Everyone who's in there says it's the best author community and the best community that they've ever been a part of. So that's also part. Like as long as you stay there, I'm doing weekly Q&A calls every single week. Great question. And then at the VIP level, you get a year for free. Let's see. Irene, is this only for publishing on Amazon or other places also? So we'll show you how to publish on Amazon for sure. And then we can also walk you through publishing other places. What I'll say is that over 70% of books sold are sold on Amazon. So my best advice is to focus on Amazon, at least at first. And make sure that you kind of focus on that, because it's kind of like Pareto principle, right? 20% of your efforts will yield 80% of your results. So definitely make sure that you focus in on a few things that move the needle. And for me, that's starting with just Amazon. Joan says, I ordered, also would like to begin February 1st, 2018. Perfect. So, that's just a couple weeks from now. So you'll get your info, Joan, and then you can basically, depending on which version of the program you did, you can start your coaching at that time. That's perfect. Can you remind me what the review sweeper is? Yeah. So it's a system that I've created that you can copy and deploy that's going to sweep in reviews day after day, month after month, year after year. Let's see. This is from Zadeslav. My question is, I actually wrote the book, and at this time it needs an editor and can go out. Is this program / package for me? Absolutely. So one of the best things that we teach is marketing. That's what I think we're best at. Quite frankly, you don't build a business from 0 to $6 million in 3 years without being good at marketing and sales. I told you this was my epiphany moment, right? This was that double M-piece peanut butter sandwich moment where I said, I got to learn this. I suck at it and I got to learn it. And so I've just invested thousands of hours, tens of thousands of dollars, and a lot of time and resources in learning it. So, this is the most pivotal moment for you. You're going to save money on editing, save money on book production, all that stuff. And we're going to show you how to position your book to sell well and then how to launch it successfully. So there's so much right here that's going to be helpful for you. Great question. So we've got a couple people that are asking, can I buy the Pro now and upgrade later? And someone else asked. So the short answer is yes, you can. The longer answer is I wouldn't recommend it. Right? Like that 1 hour clarity call is so valuable. And I've just found that like if you wait to upgrade, like you're gonna do all this work, you're gonna get on that clarity call and have extreme clarity. Now, the only problem is you've already done this work. And so this clarity might come after you've wasted a ton of time in the process. And so I really do mean it when I said, I like that call save you 40 hours in the book process. Like it very easily, that clarity call will. So that's why I recommend going straight for the coaching, because those 1 degree shifts in the beginning make a big difference in the long run. Perfect. Deslove says, great. I'm in. Perfect. Let's see. Olga says, I'm a speech therapist. I've written thousands of reports. Holy cow, that's impressive. Now I'd like to write a more readable book about helping English language learners to speak clearly. My writing style is not very fun. You're honest. I love it. Very technical. I even speak too techie. Can your program help me change my writing style? 100%, Olga. And one of the best things that I'm going to recommend for you in the program, and your coach can work through you with this, is we want to picture one single person that you're writing to, and you're going to imagine that you're writing your book as a letter to them. And so anytime you're thinking about your writing style, you're going to say, hey, would I communicate it to them this way if I was talking to them or writing a letter to them? So if you ask, hey, should I use this story? Well, would that resonate with them? If the answer is no, leave it out. If the answer is yes, keep it in, and so on and so forth. So that's really going to help you write to a specific person, and it's going to help kind of improve your writing style there. All right, Percy. So ask, will my book be reviewed and given comments if I join this course? Great question. So we're a training company, an education company. We're not a publisher. So this is kind of where a publisher would do that. But we will show you, and I'm a firm believer, I get feedback on my book from people that I'm paying, like editors. So we'll show you, Percy, how to get an editor that will give you feedback, will give you comments, and will help you make the book better. Let's see. Bruno, congratulations. Great info. My problem is to get to I think extense and intense. I write a lot and my texts get very long. Oh, extensive. I write a lot and my texts get very long. Do you have any advice for this? Yeah, so we can kind of help you with this. What I would say here is, it's kind of like a few things, like breaking it up. And good news is that you're going to be able to work with an editor. So like breaking up your text into different paragraphs, like that's a simple thing that you can do in your writing. But also we're going to show you how to work with a great editor. And I always say, I told you earlier in the presentation, I'm a C-level English student and a college dropout. So I totally feel you on this. And a good editor is worth their weight in gold. So they're going to help you. And a lot of times I know what I want to say. I just can't quite say it. And my editor comes in and cleans it up. So an editor will be able to help you with this in the process. Rich says, I'm in. Awesome. Love it. Okay, great. Let's see. Some more questions coming in. We're going to take a last call for questions. Also, last call to go ahead and enroll in the program. Get these bonuses that Eben has offered here, which are super valuable. $2,500 in bonuses from Eben, as well as these bonuses from me, and the fast action bonus. So tons of stuff here that's going to really help you get your book done and launch it successfully. So if you haven't already, head on over to self-publishingschool.com/special. Or click that orange Learn More button. Click the version of the program that's going to work best for you. Go ahead and join us now. Make sure you lock in these bonuses and then come back in the chat and let us know that you joined so we can welcome you into the program. Looks like we had a ton of people join already. So super excited for you and excited to have you guys in the program. That's awesome. Scott asked, he said, Chandler, I manage 3, and I saw your comment earlier also, Scott. Thanks for the kind words. So he says, I manage 3 businesses for a large corporation and I travel a lot. I'm afraid that I will not be able to get the book written due to my full-time job demands. Any suggestions? Should I enroll now because I will hope to find 30 minutes most days? Yeah, Scott, this is totally get where you're coming from. I hear this from a lot of people. It's like, hey, I'm super busy with work. So what I would recommend is, yes, join us. And you're going to have the accountability of your coach. And all we ask is like, hey, commit to 30 minutes a day. And everyone has 30 minutes a day, right? And that might mean that you have to cut out some time on your phone, cut out a little bit of Netflix, wake up 30 minutes earlier. But like, where can you find that uninterrupted time, preferably? And just commit to 30 minutes a day. And if you commit to that and if you follow the steps, we'll get you to the finish line. And just seeing your background here, I mean, this is awesome. And so that you obviously have a lot to share, both from a legacy standpoint and using this book to grow your authority and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think you'll be a great fit in this program. I can't wait to meet you inside the community because I know you're going to add a lot of value. Like, I'd love to hear more about these businesses. So you have to come out and hang out and let me know because it sounds awesome. And I geek out on business stuff. So I'd love to hear this. All right. Awesome. More questions. Oh, cool. Scott says, I signed up for the master program. Excited to learn how to effectively write and market my books. Awesome, Scott. Can't wait to see you in the program, man. Can't wait to hear about those businesses that you're managing because that sounds awesome. And we're always hiring too. So maybe we'll even be able to work together at some point. All right. Awesome. Matt, I think you just left your number for us to call. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and make a last call for questions. So if you have any final questions, if you have any final comments, or I'd especially love to hear from you if you're kind of on the fence and you're thinking about joining, but you just don't know if the program is right for you. Post a comment and let me know what you're thinking about. What's keeping you from joining us? What's kind of your hesitation, and what would it take to get you in the program? I'd love to hear that from you, and I'd love to be able to speak to that. If you haven't already, head on over to self-publishingschool.com/special, or click the orange Learn More button. Now, check that out. Pick the version of the program that's right for you. Go ahead and fill out the information. Go ahead and press submit and enroll with us. Come back in the chat. Let me know that you enrolled. We'd love to welcome you into the program and into the SPS fam. And also would love to make sure that you get these bonuses and this discount. Okay. So one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, if you have any questions, or if you're just having trouble with processing your order or anything like that, you can give us a call right now at 864-729-3833. That's 864-729-3833. I've got a couple people sitting by the phone there. Now they may be on the phone with someone else. So if the line is busy, then just leave a message and they'll call you back as soon as we can. So make sure that you leave a message though, so we can get back in touch with you. So you can give us a call there. And I'm going to go back into questions and answer some final questions before we wrap up. Susan says, I am in. Love it. Will you help me decide direct info book versus using exercises throughout the book? Yeah, 100%. That's something you can talk with your coach on, or you can ask that on one of the Hangouts. Phil says, unclear about the mind maps. Do you do one mind map to outline the entire book and then separate mind map for each chapter? Or is there just one mind map you do initially? Yeah, great question. So you do your big picture, like full book mind map, and then you repeat the process chapter by chapter. And this might sound cumbersome, but I promise you, like, it's going to save you hours and hours and hours, because what I find is that when people don't do this step, they just waste a ton of time, because now every chapter you stare at that blank page and you're just like, okay, guess I need to start here. But if you do the mind map and outline, now you're working through the outline to actually write the chapter. And so it just works so much better. Great question. Cheryl, did you see my question about how you will help us market our books? I did not see that. I mean, I've got a ton of questions in here, so it might have gotten buried. If you'll post it again, I'll answer it. Let's see. Rich, On top of the 30 minutes of writing a day, how much time a day do we need for going through the program? Yeah, great question. So our goal is to design it so 30 minutes total per day. And now when you're in the writing phase, it's like, okay, watch this 5 to 10 minute video, write for 20 minutes or write for 30 minutes. So maybe you're spending a total of 45 minutes that day or whatever, right? And then obviously when you move into the editing, you're spending that time on editing. So like we have like a step-by-step and day-by-day calendar. Our goal is to make it as simple as possible. Tammy says, I still want to buy this right now, but money is tight and I don't have an idea. When will this come around again? Yeah, it's totally up to you, right, Tammy? Like, I'm not going to pressure you to get this if this is not a good fit for you. I will say we have payment plans. So the cheapest option is Pro, and you could use one of the payment plans that could break it up for you, maybe make it more affordable. And then finding an idea, we walk you through that in the program itself. So like we'll walk you through exactly how to find an idea. And I, like one example, I didn't show it on this webinar, is Eileen Wilder. She had no idea what she was going to write about when she joined. And this is crazy. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why would you join if you had no idea what you're going to write about? She joined and she wrote and published her book. It got picked up by a publisher, and then it was in the front of the bookstore in Barnes and Noble. So pretty crazy. A great example of that. This is a Deslov. Technical problems. Cookies were disabled and cannot make the payment. Yeah, so just reach out to our support. Give us a call or email support@self-publishingschool.com. And Laura, if you can get that person's info, and we can make sure to follow up with them right after the webinar. Laura's on my team. You guys have been seeing Laura. She works at Self-Publishing School. Let's see. Christine, I'm in, all caps. Love it. Welcome. Thank you. And thanks for joining, and can't wait to see you inside the program. Let's see. Richard, thank you, Chandler, for your energetic and inspiring efforts. Thank you, Richard. Hope to see you inside the program. Okay, thank you so much for the webinar. I can't write as fast as you speak. So I'm wondering if there will be a link to put, I think this says a replay. Yeah, so we'll send out the replay in 24 hours. Perfect. Final questions, and we'll wrap this up. Rich says, Eben was saying to create masterminds for the things we want to do. This is like an instant mastermind. It is. And he says, stoked. Awesome, Rich. Great to have you inside the program. Welcome. Rich says, so we can self-publish first and then get picked up by a publisher? Yes, you can. I'm not sure that you want to do that. I know getting picked up by a publisher is like the goal for some people. But we're going to show you how to be way more successful without a publisher. So you could always get picked up by one if you'd like, but you don't have to. Awesome. Matt says, I am in, all caps, smiley face, ready, set, bestseller. Love it, Matt. Welcome to the family. And congrats to everyone who's joined. Super excited to have you in the program. Super excited to see your book get complete over the next 90 days. Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to be respectful of everyone's time here. Now, as I close, if you haven't already, I'm going to extend all of these bonuses for just a couple more minutes after I conclude the webinar here. So head on over, make sure you open this in a new tab, self-publishingschool.com/special, or click that orange Learn More button. Pick the version of the program that works best for you, and then go ahead and sign up and let us know in the chat once you sign up. We'd love to welcome you inside the program. I hope that you found this helpful. If you still have questions, all you need to do is give us a call at 864-729-3833. Leave a message if you can't get someone when you call. And then lastly, and I'll have Laura drop this link into the chat. If you'd like to talk with someone on my team, it'll likely be tomorrow because it's kind of getting late here. But tomorrow you can go to self-publishingschool.com/call. That's self self-publishingschool.com/call. Laura, if you'll drop that into the chat box, then you can go there and schedule a call with someone on my team. We'll be able to talk through what's your book idea? Who's your target market? How can you turn this into a successful launch? And of course, we'll be able to help you see if this is a good fit for you to join the program. And if it's a good fit, then we can get you signed up. So if that's something you're interested in, if you need to chat through this further with someone on my team, you have further questions, things like that, then please just go ahead and book a call tomorrow at self-publishingschool.com/call. Okay. So that's that. Looks like we've got some more people joining us, which is awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. Thanks once again to Eben for having me on this training and bringing me in to talk to you guys. I had a blast. I hope that you did too. Thanks for staying to the end. I hope you, at a very minimum, have some great notes and that you get started writing your book. I've said it before and I'll say it again. A book is the best thing that you could ever do for your confidence, to grow your income and to grow your business. I mean, it's been just truly life-changing for me and thousands of students who have went through our program. So can't wait to see this happen for you. And I hope to see you inside the program. So thanks very much, guys. And I'll see you inside the program. Talk soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Chandler.